Dear friends, I am Nikhil Kumar. I am professor in the Department of English of Veer Kunwar Singh University, Ara, in the province of Bihar in India. Today I shall speak on Sri Aurobindo's sonnet Nirvana. I hope you have text with you, because before we enter into Sri Aurobindo's vision of Nirvana, it would be better if we look into the text. I would like to recite the lines of Sri Aurobindo which express the state of nirvana into which we are evolutionarily required to enter. Sri Aurobindo writes, "All is abolished, but the mute alone, the mind from thought released, the heart from grief, grow inexistent now, beyond belief. There is no I, no nature, known unknown. The city, a shadow picture, without tone, floats, quivers, unreal, forms without relief, flow a cinema's vacant shapes like a reef, floundering in shoreless gulfs the world is done. Only the illimitable permanent is here, a peace stupendous, featureless still, replaces all what once was I in it. A silent, unnamed emptiness, content, either to fade in the unknowable or thrill with the luminous seas of the infinite." This is the state of nirvana which Sri Aurobindo has discovered in his yogic state of mind. We have the visions of nirvana placed before us by the Vedic rishis and Lord Buddha. And finally we find Sri Aurobindo's vision of nirvana. And when we look into these visions and make a detached view, I mean to say in a detached state of mind, when we view these three visions, we undoubtedly arrive at the conclusion that Sri Aurobindo's vision of nirvana, his discovery of the state of nirvana, is the evolutionary breakthrough. Lord Buddha speaks of the disintegration. He doesn't speak of the disintegration of soul because he says that there is no existence of soul at all. He speaks of the disintegration of the mental substance, or we can say our human sanskars. He speaks of that state or that plane of mental consciousness for which we give a term in in English, void. In Sanskrit or in Hindi, it is called Shunya. This Shunya is not at all a spatial one. It is something transcendent. It is this Shunya which is the absolute. Absolute is the state where the world of relativity ends. It is a world transcendent to the world of relativity. And we have to disintegrate, according to Lord Buddha, our mental substance has to disintegrate into that very void, that very Shunya, that very absolute. We have another vision of Nirvana given by the Vedantic rishis. They don't speak of disintegration, they speak of the disappearance of our false individual self into the real self, the self of the Brahma, the divine. We shall lose our individuality and we shall be dissolved into the Brahma, the Supreme Divine. But as I have told you, that when we look into Sri Aurobindo's Nirvana, we find that he is the evolutionary breakthrough. We have a transcendent vision in Sri Aurobindo. The rishis, including Sri Aurobindo, have discovered the existence of the plane of transcendent. Sri Aurobindo calls this plane of transcendent the supramental. This transcendent supramental exists beyond the plane of this creation itself. That very transcendent supramental consciousness has brought the creation into existence. This truth was discovered by all the rishis, including Sri Aurobindo. But Sri Aurobindo transcends all the Vedic rishis, the writer of the Gita, all the rishis who were born on the earth. Because what he discovered could not come into the vision of the other rishis. Sri Aurobindo not only discovered, not only saw the transcendent supramental divine consciousness, he could also see the descent of, the coming down of the transcendent supramental divine consciousness into this terrestrial existence and further into matter itself, the matter of which our scientists speak. That very transcendent supramental divine will descend into it. And consequently, there will be a supramental divine transformation, firstly of a man, then of the earth, and then finally of the matter itself. So a divine life, D capital divine, L capital life, divine life will be established here. Such truth could not come into the vision of any other rishis. Nobody could see that there will be a physical transformation. The physical will undergo the divine transformation, D capital divine transformation, transcendent divine transformation. Such thing could not be discovered, could not come into the yogic vision of any other rishis. Therefore, I could arrive at the conclusion that Sri Aurobindo is the evolutionary breakthrough. And after attaining that very divinization, man will continue to ascend the higher planes in the world of transcendent supramental to reach the supreme divine. The Vedic rishis could know that the transcendent which exists just above us is the supreme divine. But Sri Aurobindo said that it is not at all the supreme divine, it is the native world of the transcendent supramental divine. The supreme divine is far above that very plane which were mistaken to be the supreme divine by the other rishis. So our goal is to arrive there evolutionarily. Sri Aurobindo says that nirvana is a step, is a passage through which we could transcend the plane of creation and enter into that transcendent supramental consciousness. Nirvana is not the final yogic state. It is not the final one. So, nirvana is a state by which we can go there. And when we enter into that very state of nirvana, Sri Aurobindo writes in his sonnet that we feel that all is abolished, but the mute alone. Actually, this is the state of a silence. It is the state of impersonal silence. This is not at all a terrestrial silence. It is a silence, or it is a silent state of mind, individually speaking, in which the consciousnesses of the three constituent parts of the beings of man, body consciousness, life consciousness and mind consciousness cease. Rather, the untransformed body consciousness, the untransformed life consciousness, the untransformed mind consciousness in the being of man cease to exist in that very silent state of mind. In fact, this very silent state of mind is a nirvana. Because when we attain this silent state of mind, the peace from the plane of the supramental divine descend into our being. The transcendent peace, the peace of the transcendent plane of consciousness will descend into us when we attain this state of silence, which is the state of nirvana according to Sri Aurobindo. That is why he says that a peace is stupendous, featureless still. Featureless because there is no earthly feature at all. The divisiveness ceases to exist here. The divisiveness of consciousness, the separativity of consciousness ceases to exist here. The untransformed state of the body consciousness, the life consciousness and mind consciousness are having so many separative features. Those separative features cease to exist in the state of nirvana. Sri Aurobindo has said, as I have told you, that it is a passage, it is a step towards the transcendent supramental consciousness, because the moment we attain this nirvana, this silent state of mind or this plane of impersonal silence, the peace existing on the transcendent divine plane gets an opportunity to descend here. and we undergo a transformation and we become capable of ascending the higher planes so that we could transcend and enter into the plane of that very supramental consciousness. Sri Aurobindo has spoken of integral yoga. When we look into this integral yoga, we find there exists three yogas. There are three yogas of which Sri Aurobindo speaks, and those three yogas are inherent in what he calls the integral yoga. The first one is what he calls this psychic transformation, or to say the soul transformation of the three constituent parts of the beings of man, the body, of the life and the mind. He calls it psychicization, yoga of psychicization of the body, life and mind. The next yoga is the yoga of spiritualization, or the spiritual transformation of the being of man. And the third one is the yoga of supramentalization. So these are the three yogas. We have to finally undertake the yoga of supramentalization, for which we are required to undertake the yoga of psychicization. In fact, after undertaking the yoga of the psychicization of our body, life and mind, we attain the state of this nirvana. Sri Aurobindo has discovered that we are made up of body, life and mind, at the center of which there exists the divine self in us. The divine self in us exists in its two poises. The central poise is what he calls the Jivatma, and there is a projection of Jivatma, there is a spark of Jivatma which evolves gradually in course of time, and Sri Aurobindo calls it psychic being. So Jivatma, that is to say the divine self, exists in us in its two poises. One is what he calls Jivatma, the other is the psychic being. On the stage of evolution, this psychic being exists behind the body, life and mind. On the present evolutionary stage, our body, life and mind are not under the direct control of this psychic being. As a result of which, these three are at conflict, these three are at war with one another. So the consciousnesses of body, life and mind are separative in nature, and their separative consciousnesses are at war with one another. Such a state makes us mortal. We are mortal for this very reason. When we undertake the yoga of psychicization, the psychic being comes in front. From the behind of body, life and mind, it comes in front and takes over the command of these three. The very consciousness of psychic being, that is to say the very divine consciousness through the psychic being, percolates into the mind self, the life self and the body self of the being of man, and they undergo a transformation there takes place a fundamental transformation in the consciousnesses of these three. They are no longer separative in nature. They are no longer separative in nature. They in fact come back into their transcendent integral divine origin, which exists in the psychic being, which is a projection of the Jivatma, which is a representative of the Jivatma. When this happens, such a state, Sri Aurobindo calls, is the psychicized state of the being of man. We undergo the soul transformation. That is to say, the consciousness of body, the consciousness of life, the consciousness of mind undergoes soul transformation. Soul consciousness is established into these three, and these three come to be receptive to what comes down from the plane of the divine consciousness. So in this state, the transcendent divine peace, the peace which exists on the transcendent supramental divine consciousness, descends into the being of man. That is why I told you earlier that a peace stupendous, featureless, we have got. This is the state of nirvana. This is the state of nirvana. All is abolished. Means this separativity is abolished. This separativity of consciousness, the divisiveness of consciousness is totally abolished. It is replaced, the divisiveness of consciousness, this separativity of consciousness is replaced by the divine consciousness which percolates from the psychic being of man. And there is the mute alone. In the first line we have, all is abolished, but the mute alone. It is mute not in the earthly sense. Means we are able to visualize a transcendent world. Such psychicized state is in fact the state of nirvana. I told you some time back that Sri Aurobindo says that nirvana is a state. It is a step towards the transcendent supramental divine consciousness, the consciousness which exists beyond the plane of creation. That is to say, in other words, the psychicized state of mind, or that is to say, the being of man, which is the nirvanic state of the being of man, comes to be a passage. There is a reason behind it. We shall able to discover how it is a passage towards that transcendent when Sri Aurobindo reveals that there exists 4 planes of spiritual consciousness. Let us know here that spiritual plane of mind consciousness is that plane of mind consciousness where we have the realization of the existence of one divine. Just below this plane there exists the intellectual plane of mind consciousness and other planes, lower planes of mind consciousness. There is no realization of the existence of one divine on the plane of intellectual mind and below the other planes. There is no. In fact, the plane of intellectual mind is under the gravitational pull of the divisiveness of consciousness, the separativity of consciousness. The moment we have the realization of the existence of one divine, the very separativity, the very divisiveness of consciousness begins to decay, begins to die out. And we enter into the world of spiritual mind, wherein there exist four planes. Sri Aurobindo calls the first plane of spiritual mind consciousness, which exists just beyond the plane of intellectual mind, higher mind. Above it there exists another plane of, second higher plane of spiritual mind consciousness, which he terms illumined mind consciousness. Third plane is what he calls intuitive mind consciousness, and the fourth one, which is the highest plane of spiritual consciousness on the plane of mind, is what he calls the overmind consciousness. So overmind consciousness is the plane where exists the separativity of consciousness in its list. And when we go beyond that, we enter into the world of integral consciousness, which is the transcendent, supramental, divine consciousness. When we ascend the planes of spiritual consciousness, after undergoing psychicization, we ascend all the four planes very decisively, irreversibly. In case somebody ascends the planes of spiritual consciousness without undergoing psychicization, the very separativity of the body, life and mind within the being of man remains operative. They are under the gravitational pull of the separativity of consciousness. So because there is a downward pull of the separativity of consciousness, the moment man ascends the spiritual plane, there is all danger to fall down, and not only danger, the man falls down from the plane of spiritual consciousness. So he cannot finally enter into the plane of spiritual consciousness, and when he cannot enter into the plane of spiritual consciousness, there is no question of transcending the plane of mind under which or within which the spiritual mind exists. There is no question at all to transcend and enter into the world of supramental consciousness. So when we ascend the planes of spiritual consciousness, after undergoing the psychicization, there is no gravitational pull within the consciousnesses of body, life and mind. In fact, this separative consciousness or separativity existing within these three parts no more exists. They no longer exist. They cease to exist. In fact, it is the divine consciousness which replaces the separativity existing within these three, because divine consciousness is essentially the integral consciousness. So naturally, after undergoing this psychicization, there is not at all the separativity, rather man is receptive to the integrality. So this psychicized state comes to be a passage, comes to be a state towards the transcendent supramental. Therefore, Sri Aurobindo has very clearly written in one of his letters on yoga that nirvana is a step towards that very supramental. It is in fact what he calls the psychicized state of the body consciousness, the life consciousness and mind consciousness within the being of man. So in such a state, there is the consciousness of the permanent, rather the thing of permanent dwells within us, reigns within us. We are within the domain of the transcendent divine. Because Lord Buddha was essentially a man of mental consciousness. Vedic rishis were essentially the man of mental, they were the men of mental consciousness. They could feel that this stage is the final one. But because Sri Aurobindo manifested the supramental consciousness, he manifests supramental consciousness in all his poetic works, such as his epic Savitri and other monumental works like the Life Divine and in his later song You. This is what Sri Aurobindo tries to tell us in the sonnet Nirvana. Since we are not the men of nirvanic state of consciousness, we cannot express it truthfully. Whatever we are saying here, it is in fact, we are making a shadow of that. We are under limitation. We are under limitation not to truly express the state of nirvana, because we are yet to undergo the state of nirvana. But this is what Sri Aurobindo has presented before us, so that it could be an impetus within us to enter into the state of the nirvanic mind. That's all. Thank you very much.